In our case study, one theme that speaks to the whole of our being is the idea that standardized testing is not beneficial for students. Students around America take standardized tests every year, and that is a very stressful time for them. These standardized tests are very basic and do not actually show the full potential of the student. According to Berliner and Glass, they state that standardized test has been linked to the Education Olympics, where the main objective is to take home the gold and beat the competition. Standardized testing should not be something considered a competition. We shouldn't be spending all this money just so we can rank ourselves among other countries to take home the gold. We should be putting this money towards helping our students improve in schools.
Williams also talks about standardized testing in her book, Jewels on Schools. Williams talks about how state standards are set in place to make everything seem so simple when in reality, the education system is not that simple. She says, if everything lines up, if students are taught what they are expected to know and do, and if the tests accurately measure that knowledge, then we will be able to see if schools are successful at doing what they are being asked to do. Simple? Not by a long shot. She is talking about how setting standards and having standardized tests doesn't mean every student is going to do perfectly well.
Solberg talks about how Finland doesn't take standardized tests. Solberg states that consequences of the high-stakes testing environment include avoidance of risk-taking, increased boredom, and fear. This is true knowing that so many students get nervous for standardized tests or say how boring they felt sitting there for hours filling in bubbles. Finland has one of the highest-ranked schooling systems in the world, and they consistently show that they are doing well without the use of standardized testing.
The U.S. Department of Education states very clearly the good and the bad that comes from standardized testing. It states that one essential part of educating students successfully is assessing their progress and learning to high standards. Done well and thoughtfully, assessments are tools for learning and promoting equity. They provide necessary information for educators, families, the public, and students themselves to measure progress and improve outcomes for all learners. Done poorly, in excess, or without clear purpose, they take valuable time away from teaching and learning, draining creative approaches from our classrooms. The success of this is that standardized testing helps promote equity and information to everyone involved in the education system. However, where they are lacking is when the standardized tests are completed poorly without a purpose. It takes valuable time from teaching and learning.
The second theme that we found we are certain matters in education is that home life affects how children perform in school. Ritter and Glass state how home life and where a student comes from has a direct effect on how they will perform in school. They state, the fact that some children from some families have access to fully supported home school environments, others do not. Issues of family, educational background, and fiscal resources, access like transportation, and opportunity like museums to supplement the home environment are important to consider in the education of all children, traditional and homeschooled. These factors strongly influence student outcomes. Students who come from privileged families will most likely have access to places outside of the school that can help them succeed in school. Those children may get to go to museums and learn more and will have transportation to get there. However, students who do not come from privileged backgrounds do not have access to the same type of learning. They are unable to go to the extra places like museums to expand their learning outside of the classroom.
Pasi Solberg states, Zhao offers a comprehensive summary of the most recent critique of the PISA and concludes that the core of Chinese education, including Shanghai's PISA scores, are the three basics: Chinese families' high expectations, hard work and diligence, and the examination system. Solberg is talking about the key reasons for achievement in China, and one of those reasons is Chinese families' high expectations. Parents in Chinese homes push their children to get the highest grades, which then makes them succeed. When they have someone pushing them, it motivates them to do better.
William brings up the No Child Left Behind Act in her book and states that NCLB funds are used to enroll and provide for students from migrant families and homeless families. These funds help to assist us so that within schools we provide more equal opportunities regardless of gender, ethnicity, or income. The list goes on and on. The No Child Left Behind Act is a federal act that ensures that no child will fall behind in the American schooling system because of their background, gender, and more. This act provides funding for children who are falling behind. As of right now, this is what America has set in place to make sure that children in the U.S. will will all be proficient at school regardless of who they are.
From the Education Policy Center, there is an article that is about investing in equal opportunity. This website states, however, many schools and classrooms lack high-quality teachers, and the problem is the most pronounced in urban schools serving large concentrations of high-poverty students. Policymakers should expand the scope of schools in high-poverty neighborhoods to provide wrap-around services including nutritional supports, health clinics, parental education, extended learning time, recreational programs, and other services needed to meet the social, physical, cognitive, and economic needs of both students and families. This shows that students who come from a low-income family will most likely live in a low-income neighborhood, then will go to low-income schools and have teachers that are not as effective as they would be in other areas. This is not helping the students who need help academically, and that is where the policy is lacking. Something needs to be done about this. However, they are succeeding in implementing the NCLB, but lacking in the fact that it hasn't totally worked for every student in America.
One theme we believe that could change the whole world is that teachers should be paid more. Teachers in the United States are not paid nearly enough to provide for themselves and for their students. The teachers have to pay for materials in their classroom out of their own pockets, and that is hard to do with a teacher's salary. Most teachers have to get a second job just to make ends meet. Ritter and Glass state, in reality, American teachers are paid less than teachers in other countries. 1. Relative to the wages of other workers with similar levels of education. 2. Based on the amount of time spent teaching each day. 3. In terms of the salary differentials between starting and experienced teachers. And 4. In relation to salary trends over the past decade. The basis of how much teachers get paid is based on these 4 factors. Teachers should be getting paid more in general to have more pay for materials for their classroom, and teachers who have been teaching at the same school longer should get paid more than those who are just starting. By doing this, there will be more effective teachers in America and better learning for all students.
Sahlberg talks about how teachers in Finland get paid slightly more than the national salary, and the profession is seen as just as valuable as a doctor or other noble profession. In America, this is very different. Teachers do not get bonuses and are not paid very well. Therefore, a lot of people will not go into the profession because of this issue. He states that, next, there is a personal bonus in each teacher's salary that depends on overall job performance, including feedback from parents, colleagues, and the principal, yet it is not measured by student achievement. The American education system would prosper if they would adopt the same ideals that the Finnish education system has in place.
Williams states, "My children are registering for classes. I am mostly writing checks." This is not directly at Williams because of the age of her kids, but a lot of paying for school falls on parents because of the lack of teachers' salaries. Teachers have to make material lists each year for school because teachers can't afford every material that they need for their students just from money given to them by the schools. This is not helpful when spending money on school supplies falls on families that are low income and are already struggling to make ends meet.
The Teacher Salary Project organization states, based on the premise that as leaders of their states, governors have tremendous influence and ability to generate political will to prioritize important policies like teacher pay. The Governor's Challenge aims to showcase what each governor is doing or not to support improved teachers' salaries with a goal of attracting and retaining great teachers for every student. This organization is succeeding because they are finding the cause of the low teacher salary and trying to find out what they can do to reserve this. However, where this organization is lacking is that they can't change how much teachers get paid. It falls under the governors to make that decision. Therefore, they are bringing awareness to this issue and posting it online so people from around the U.S. can see what they can do and what their governors are doing to decrease this issue.